Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing a May book haul. Usually every month I do sort of like a book of the month unboxing, and I might include some other books in that unboxing video, but I recorded an unboxing video earlier this month and then my SD card broke, so I lost that footage. So I'm just going to record a regular book haul. I have a bunch of books to show off. 3 of them are my book of the month picks. I have a couple of others because I got a quarterly box this month as well, and then I bought some books and was sent some books by publishers, so I figured I would just do a regular old-fashioned book haul. So the 3 books that I got this month from the book of the month are The Leavers by Lisa Ko, Woman Number 17 by Eden Lepucki, and then Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane. So if you haven't watched my book hauls before, I generally don't like to know too much information about a book before reading it, so I'm going to talk about these books in very vague terms. I give very poor synopsises, but there are links always in the description to the books I talk about, so you're welcome to do your own research if you'd like. This one I know is about a Chinese mother and her son. Mother is taken away because she's an illegal immigrant, and then the son is adopted by, I believe, a white family. I'm not completely sure about that detail, and so I think it's about him sort of figuring out his identity and figuring out about his biological family and all of that stuff that sort of has to do with adoption. I'm really excited about this book because one, it deals with immigrant stories, but it also deals with adoption. I really appreciate good adoption related stories because it's just something I personally care a lot about. So reading books from the point of view of characters who have been adopted and sort of are dealing with that dual identity almost sort of thing really interests me. So I'm really excited to read this one. There's a pretty good chance I'm going to have this one read before the month is out. Woman Number 17 was the book that I was like the most excited that I saw that they had. I read California whenever it came out a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it, so I've been looking forward to Eden Lepucki's follow-up, and I've heard pretty good things about this one. It's supposed to be sort of like suspenseful, creepy. I don't think it's a thriller, but it has sort of like an edge to it. There is this woman who decides to separate from her husband and moves out with her children. And so she's working on a book and she realizes she needs some help. So she puts out an ad looking for someone to be sort of like a nanny and housekeeper sort of situation. This woman answers, but then things start getting sort of weird. Her relationship, the like nanny woman's relationship with like her son seems like borderline inappropriate, things like that. It has a very like single white female sort of vibe to it, at least based on the synopsis, so I'm kind of really interested to see how this goes. And then for Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane, Dennis Lehane is well known for his books like Mystic River and Shutter Island, which were made into movies. This one I heard is really different from other books that Dennis Lehane has written. I've heard this one is slightly slower and more of like a character-based story. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I've heard a lot of people who are like big Dennis Lehane fans don't necessarily like this one that much, but because I'm not like a huge Dennis Lehane person, this one might actually appeal to me. So again, just really interested to see how this one goes for me. And then, like I said, I got a quarterly box. Quarterly is another one of those subscription services. They put out their boxes quarterly, obviously, and it's a little bit more expensive, but the way that it works right now is they have like a specific author that they highlight the new book that's coming out from them, and then that author also picks 2 books that they recommend or want other people to read or whatever. And so the author for this month was Jeff Vandermeer, who's probably best well known for his trilogy that came out a couple of years ago. Annihilation, I believe is what it was called. I never read that one. But this one is his new book called Born. And as per usual, Quarterly does the thing where they also have the authors like annotate their books. So they'll always put these like post-it notes with the author's handwriting, and it'll have notes about the story or like the writing process or whatever the author wants to include. I've heard really, really good things about Born, even from people who didn't really like his first series very much. This one's getting really good reviews from basically everyone, and this cover is like insane looking. Jeff Vandermeer is known for weird and creepy things, so again, I'm just intrigued to see how this goes because I feel like there's no real way to prepare you for a Jeff Vandermeer book. And then the 2 books that he recommended and provided in the box were The Blue Fox by a Reykjavik author whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce because I know better than that. And then the other one is Gunshot by Amelia Gray. Both of these are books that, well, I've heard of The Blue Fox before, and I've heard of this author before. I've never heard of Gunshot by Amelia Gray. So one of the reasons why I do like Quarterly is because I think they do a good job, or the authors do a good job of providing books that fit with them, but also might not be as well known. So I'm really interested to see how these 2 go because these are things I would never read otherwise. And then I have one book that was sent to me by a publisher, and that is The Nakano Thrift Shop by Hiromi Kawakami. And this was translated by Allison Markin Powell. This was put out by Europa Editions here in the United States. They are probably best well known for putting out the Elena Ferrante books here in the United States. But yeah, they contacted me, or they emailed me about this book, and it sounds completely delightful. Apparently she, I actually don't know the gender of this author. I shouldn't make an assumption. Her. She is very well known in Japan. She's becoming sort of like a bestseller over there, and so I think her books are slowly getting translated here into English. This one is supposed to be just like a really heartwarming story about objects and about people and your purpose and your usefulness, and sort of how like people and things that don't necessarily have like an overt use to them, they still are very valuable for other reasons. So yeah, I feel like I need something slightly heartwarming and good to read, because I feel like in general I tend to pick up really depressing books, and when the world is depressing, sometimes you need something to counteract that. So I feel like this will be that book for me. And then I have 3 books that I picked up recently that I'm really excited to read all of them. The first one is The Complete Fiction of Nella Larson. This includes Passing, Quicksand, and then a couple of her short stories. I picked up all 3 of these at a used bookstore. And basically with Nella Larson, I was looking up classics by authors of color, because that is one of the Book Riot Read Harder challenges. And Nella Larson's name came up, and her books sounded just really interesting. So in my head, I was like, oh, I should probably get one of Nella Larson's books from the library. And then I came across this at the used bookstore, and I was like, well, that just feels like fate. Nella Larson was a writer during the Harlem Renaissance. I believe that like Passing deals with sort of being a light-skinned Black woman in the United States during that time period. I believe that Quicksand deals with a mixed-race person. So intrigued by her writing and to see what her books have to say, and I've heard really amazing things about Nella Larson in general, so again, excited to read this. And then I got This Is the Story of a Happy Marriage by Ann Patchett. This is a collection of essays, I believe. Essays or short stories? Pretty sure it's essays. I love Ann Patchett. I am slowly working my way through all of her books, and just as I'm coming across them at bookstores, I pick them up. So yeah, just again excited to read more Ann Patchett. And then the one I was probably the most excited about was The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak. Again, I've said this a million times on this channel. I love Elif Shafak. She wrote some of my favorite books that are out there in the world. The Bastard of Istanbul, I believe, is her most well-known bestseller sort of book. And this is sort of the one that whenever I talk about Elif Shafak, people are like, oh, you have to read The Bastard of Istanbul. So I finally own it, so I'm going to read it, and this will probably get done sooner rather than later, because I'm super excited for it. How many times did I say super excited in this video? I have no idea, but you could probably turn that into a drinking game. Anyways. Those are all of the books that I have for you guys. Feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know if you've read any of these books and what your opinions were on them. Even if you didn't like them, I like knowing that as well. Or if you have any questions about any of these books or the authors I talked about, or the subscription boxes, I'll have links to both of them down in the description. Or if there's a book in here that you are excited for me to read, let me know that as well. And yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.